So before we get started installing or working with Laravel, let's first quickly discuss why you should use Laravel over other frameworks or when you should choose to use Laravel. So Laravel is a bit more heavy duty than some other frameworks like React or Next.js, and this comes down to how Laravel is structured. So Laravel relies heavily on the MVC architecture, which stands for Model View Controller. Basically, the model refers to a model in the code which connects off to the database. So basically, one model is one table in the database, and the view is basically one page that you see when you navigate to each page on the website. And then the controller is what decides the routes. So for example, when you click a certain button here, where does it take you, and so on. So with Laravel, this is the type of website you'd create. So this is a shopping website. It has all sorts of products, and you can manage the products here and also manage orders and stuff. So it's a bit more heavy duty than let's say React or Next.js, in that even though you could set something up like this in Next.js, Laravel comes pre-packed with all the tools that you need to build something like this. So in Next.js, you would have to install something into your Next.js project to make it communicate with your database, and you need to install a bunch of packages and stuff to get all of this working correctly. But Laravel is actually really huge, and it comes with all the tools that you need right out of the box. Now, in saying that, it also does come at a price, because if you do use Laravel over Next.js, you will need a bit better hosting. With Next.js, you can use something like Vercel to host for free if it's just your personal website, or you could even go with something for like $5 a month. But with Laravel, you do need a bit of extra setup, which requires you to get hosting where you can SSH into the server and set everything up and stuff like that. So yeah, hosting is a bit more expensive if you use Laravel. But for more heavy duty sites, like for example a shopping website or e-commerce site, I would definitely use Laravel over something like Next.js. Okay, now with that out of the way, to actually start installing Laravel, we firstly need to install Composer. So you can find this by just searching Composer PHP on Google or whatever search engine you use, and then just click download here and install it. It's pretty straightforward. You just click next on everything until it's done, and once you're done with that, you can open up a terminal. You can do this by right clicking on the Windows button down here and terminal here, and then run this command here, composer global require. Basically just copy this and paste it in your terminal and run that, and once you're done with that, it should be installed. So there's one more thing we need to decide on before you actually set up a project with Laravel. So here, if you click on get started, you can see there's an option for starter kits here. So there's 3 starter kits included in Laravel. These are basically what tools and stuff you get out of the box. Basically the 3 are React, Vue, and Livewire. Now usually I would use something like React because I'm proficient with it as a front-end framework, but for Laravel, Livewire in my opinion is the best framework to choose here. The reason for this is because it uses something called Blade, and this makes it really easy for the front end, which is the page that you're looking at right here, to communicate with the backend server and send data back and forth and so on. So I would definitely recommend you use Livewire as the template, simply because it has Blade in it. The other additional features of Livewire, which are probably the main reason you'd choose it, is not really that great, but simply because it has Blade, that's why I'm going to choose this. So to actually create a project, let's head over to a folder here. I'm just going to create a folder called Laravel projects, and inside of here I'm going to create the new project. So we right click here and we select open in terminal, and inside of the terminal you want to do Laravel new, and then you give your project a name. So I'm just going to call this YouTube-app. And here you'll be given some options to choose from. So I'm just going to type in Livewire here, And now it's asking which authentication provider do you prefer. I'm just going to hit enter here and leave it as the built-in one. Okay, so for most of these things you can just leave them as default. Now it's asking which testing framework do you prefer. Again, you could select the testing framework that you like, but in this series we're not really going to do a lot of testing and stuff. We're just going to build something. So I'm just going to hit enter here and leave it as default, and now it should start creating the application. Now you should see an error here depending on how it connects to your database. If your database has a password or something on it, then it's going to throw an error here. Also, if you don't already have a database, I recommend you install something like MySQL here. I have a series on this on my channel, so you can go through that if you want to learn how to install it and use it. Laravel does connect to the database by default, so obviously if your database has a password on it, the connection is going to fail, so you're going to see an error being thrown here. Okay, and once it's done setting up the project, it will ask you if you want to run npm install and npm run build. You can just hit yes here. On older versions of Laravel it won't ask you this, it just does it automatically. So I'm going to hit enter here, and this will also take a bit of time to run. Altogether, to set up all of the stuff, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes, so don't worry if it feels a bit slow on your computer. And once that's done, you just cd into the new folder that was created, which is YouTube app. Or if you don't want to do that, you can close this completely, and in your folders here just head into the new folder that was created and right click in here and open in terminal. So now we can just do code and a dot to open this up in Visual Studio Code. And okay, once you have this, I'm not going to go through all of the files in this video, we'll do that in the next video. But to actually run this project and see what it looks like, we need to do composer run dev in the terminal here. So composer run dev, and this will also take a couple of seconds to start up. Okay, and we'll give you the address here once it's started. So we're just going to hold Control on the keyboard and click on it to open it up. And yeah, as you can see, it's running now. We have access to the website here, so everything is configured correctly. If you did run into any errors along the way, make sure you have your composer set up correctly. You just need to install it, and then you install Laravel using this command here, and then you just do Laravel new and the project name. And if that causes you some type of error, maybe just delete the project and create a new one. And also make sure you check if the database is set up and running correctly. So as I was saying before, you may see an error with your database that it didn't connect to something. So here there's a file called .env, and this is what manages all of like your application secret keys and all of that stuff in here. And one of the things that it manages is the database connection right here. So you can see that it's set it up by default to use SQLite. If I wanted to change this to be MySQL, which is what I have installed here, I can just change the text here to say MySQL, and then I can uncomment all of these by just removing the hashes on them. So I select them and I press Ctrl and slash, and that uncomments them out, or you can just delete the hashes before each one. And once you've done that, everything here should remain the same. The only thing you might need to change is the password and the port if you're using a different port on MySQL. So just quickly, if you wanted to check the port on MySQL, you can open up MySQL Workbench, and right here it says localhost and then the port number, which is 3306. So that's the same port number we have here. And then you want to give a database name here. So this you can change it to whatever you want. It will be the name of the database that you're using for this project. You don't need to create it beforehand in MySQL, this will create it for you. And then you need a username here, so whatever the username is that you created when you installed MySQL, and then the password goes here. Now after you filled in all of this, you need to close down whatever's running here, and you need to do so yes, we want to terminate this, and you need to do php artisan and then migrate. and this will set up the new database that you just put in the details for here. So I'm not going to do this right now because I need to actually type in my password and stuff, so I'm going to fill these details out after the video, and then I'll run php artisan migrate, and then we'll follow up from there in the next video. So hopefully everything went well for everyone and you have your Laravel project set up, and in the next video we'll go through all of these files and folders and see what each one of them are for. So I'll see you guys in the next video.